When I was a kid, I had very strong interests in specific things, many of which are still with me today. One of these was the classic Toho-made Godzilla. Now, let me make a correction. This wasn't an interest. This was a goddamn obsession. I had everything, man. Clothes, toys. Godzilla toys are elite, by the way. Nothing compares. Movies. I even have these, like, collector's edition shits. I have this big shit I got from my grandma when I was little. Love you, grandma. Point is, I love this big fucking guy. And Godzilla as a character, but more as a franchise, has had a special place in my heart for my whole life. But I grew up with these Godzillas, not these ones. So there was only a limited amount to watch before I had seen it all. It's easy to say I'd seen everything really fast, but as a stupid little kid, I had no care in the world watching it over and over. Then one day, in 2014, my dad called me out to look at something, probably on his old iPad that barely worked, and showed me this. You wanna know what I felt in that moment? Pure fucking joy. It's 1954, and Godzilla is lured to Bikini Atoll in an attempt to kill him with a nuke. Sure. Fast forward. It's 1999, and two Monarch scientists, Shirazawa and Graham, are investigating a monster skeleton under a uranium mine. In the skeleton they find... Okay, in the script I wrote spores, because that's what they're called when I was doing research for this, but let's be real. They're eggs. They're just eggs. One that's lying dormant, and the other one is open and already fucked off out of there. They also find a path the monster had seemingly created out to sea. Back in Japan, the Janjira nuclear power plant is seemingly about to go kaboom. Supervisor... Oh, holy shit. Anyway, he sends his wife to lead a team into the reactor. However, the reactor, guess what? Goes kaboom. He is forced to close the door on her. 15 years after, the son of Walter, Joe, his name's Joe, whose name is Ford, is returning home from his tour in the Navy. However, has to leave literally immediately, as his father was arrested for trespassing in a goddamn quarantine zone. Joe then persuades his son into trespassing with him right after being let free, right back into the quarantine zone. Their goal is to return to their previous house in order to obtain vital data on research conducted before the plant disaster. While on their way, they learn that the quarantine zone literally isn't even a quarantine zone. After retrieving the disc, they are discovered and taken to the plant's ruins for questioning. It's here that we learn of a massive egg that's been feeding on the reactor for 15 years. That's been emitting a strange signal. Luckily, the egg hatches, and a giant winged fucking abomination hatches from it and starts destroying the place. Walter gets messed up and dies, covered up to the public as an earthquake. We learn that the creature is named Muto. The scientists also revealed to Ford that a 1954 deep-sea expedition awakened Godzilla, and that nuclear tests were in fact not tests but an attempt to kill him. After this, Monarch was formed in order to study Godzilla and creatures that are similar to him in secret. He also dropped that not only did the Muto cause the plant meltdown, but also reveals that the Muto was communicating with something with its signals that they presumed was Godzilla. Later, the Muto is seen attacking a Russian sub and taking it to Hawaii to eat its nuclear material. It's here that Godzilla finally shows up and beats the Muto till it fucks off. Shirazawa put 2 and 2 together and makes the discovery that Godzilla was only listening to the Muto's calls, not the one being contacted, which then leads the military in investigating the second egg in the Yukon Mountains in Nevada. However, a bigger Muto has already hatched, escaped, and is now fucking up the Las Vegas Strip. Quick side note, that literally doxing myself to the whole internet. I live in Nevada. As a kid, seeing a Godzilla movie in the place that was in the movie, I was hyped. The military is then transporting nukes by train in an attempt to lure the creatures into the open and destroy them. However, they are intercepted by the female Muto and it eats most of the nukes. However, one remains and was airlifted to San Francisco where all the monsters seem to be converging. Godzilla shows up at the Golden Gate Bridge and she kind of messes with it for a second. The warhead is activated. Uh-oh. It got snatched yet again. Shocker. The female then makes a nest around Chinatown. Godzilla and both the Mutos fight, but while they do that, Ford and a strike team halo jump into Chinatown, which I remember thinking was really dope. After they realize that the warhead can't be disarmed anymore, they load it onto a boat for disposal, while Ford blows up the nest. Godzilla fucking murders both of the Muto and decides to take a little nap on the shore. Ford gets the boat out into sea and is rescued before the bomb blows up. He then reunites with his family at the emergency shelter next morning. Godzilla decides to wake up and walks his happy ass back into the ocean. The media calls him the king of the monsters. And all live happy. Now, when you remember this movie, you probably also remember what everyone said about it. That was that it's bad. But listen to me. When it came out, I kind of loved this movie. Before the movie came out, Forbes predicted that Godzilla 2014 would be the biggest box office flop of 2014. And I mean, they were only like a little right. The movie made money, don't get me wrong. It was estimated that with a budget of 160 million USD, it made about $93 million in profit. Like, don't get me wrong, that is a shit ton of money. Forbes also stated that Godzilla would be box office poison, but let's be real. The 2014 box office was already fucked from the start. It was this and this shit. Let's be real. Critically, it received like a 76 on Rotten Tomatoes, scoring more than fucking Trolls, Interstellar, and Ted. Would I recommend this movie to watch? If you could somehow de-age back to a child, yes. I honestly wish I could have. Not for nostalgia or anything, but because I could only see the funny Breaking Bad character. All in all, Godzilla 2014 is exactly what it says it is. An American Godzilla movie. Wait. No.